Hey friends, I'm Ashley from Chip Builds, and today we are going to dive into one of my favorite topics, creating a production workflow for high volume orders. Whether you're cranking out like 20 keychains or 1,200 cups, your workflow is absolutely everything. I've been running my own laser business now for a few years, and let me tell you, the game changer for me was absolutely figuring out these production workflows to just make me spend less money, save more time, and get the most out of the time that I have for my business. Building these systems helped me be less stressed and less scatterbrained, and it helped me with streamlining and scaling my business. So in this session, I'm gonna walk you through the exact tools, tips, and tricks that I use to get it all done, not only faster, cleaner, and with way less stress. So one of the main topics of this video is gonna be jigs. If you're not familiar with that, jigs are gonna make your life so much better. I know that word sounds super industrial, but it's really not. Jigs are just tools or guides that help you repeat the same action repeatedly without having to move things around and do a complete setup each time. But they're absolutely lifesavers when doing batch ordering. Probably the easiest and quickest way to make a jig is out of cardboard, and that's perfect for laser engravers because what you can do with your file on your laser, say you're doing coasters, you can cut out your 4-inch circle and then drop in your coasters and engrave the design each time. And then when those ones are done, you just pick them up and then you drop in the next 8 coasters or however many you can fit on there. And all you have to do is just make sure that jig is not going to move whatsoever. The whole key is that it's repeated steps so that it's accurate. So I like to do is just put some 3D printed hold downs on the cardboard. That way I know it's not going to move even when I'm moving the laser bed around or I accidentally pick up a coaster wrong. And it really makes things so much better. It doesn't have to be little 3D printed clamps. It can also be like a little weight, a 1, 2, 3 block, a rock even. Like as you'll see later in this video, I've done some weird things to get a jig set up. And the nice thing about this cheaper option using cardboard, you can use the packaging that your products come in. You can use a cereal box. You can use your Amazon boxes. I know you have some. And it's really just a cheap and easy way. And then you can just throw it away once you're done. So obviously making a jig can be hard sometimes because if you're just doing like coasters, or an ornament, it's typically a general shape with an exact dimension that you can easily create. Sometimes you have something like a pocket knife that you want to engrave on. And so what I like to do is I will take a picture of the item as flat as possible. Sometimes I will take it on like a cutting mat that has dimensions on it, so that way I know it's going to be perfect. And then I will just trace out that outline with the pen tool in Illustrator to get that unique shape that I need. That way I can cut out a jig for it or 3D print a jig, and then I know it's going to be an accurate placement every time. And then also, it doesn't have to just be cardboard that you can use for your laser jigs. It can also be like MDF or even plywood. Really, I just use whatever I have on hand. I use MDF a lot to make jigs, and then I'll use them for quite a while and then I'll just get rid of them. But let me tell you about my favorite type of jig that I make and lots of people make, and you could probably make it too, but you might have to go looking for some more information, is a 3D printed jig. For example, I've 3D printed this jig specifically to hold a 6-ounce flask. And it just makes my life easier because I can set this up one time and then just do a bunch of repeated steps. These ones specifically I have made to fit in the bed of the Xtool F1 laser because the bed will pop out, but you can easily set this up in any laser as I'll show you later on. So 3D printed jigs are perfect for if you have an item that you know you're going to keep for a really long time and it's just like super popular and you're making hundreds if not thousands of them. That's when I personally would try to do something like a 3D printed jig, or even make one that's permanent out of wood that you can just keep reusing. The reason I like the 3D printed jigs is they are super precise, really easy to acquire or make yourself. They're very durable, and they just look really clean. Now, I personally make all of my jigs in a program called Fusion. It is offered by Autodesk. It is free, but if you're gonna make your own 3D printed jigs for the first time, I highly recommend you check out a program called Tinkercad. That will be the easiest place to kind of start your 3D printed jig journey. But if you're really not into that kind of thing, check out Etsy. There are tons and tons of 3D printed jigs for all kinds of items that you can possibly think of that you could be crafting. And it doesn't just mean laser engravers, it's also sublimation owners and just general jigs to kind of make crafting easier. One of my first 3D printed jigs that I made was actually to make my production workflow easier. During the pandemic, I was making a lot of vinyl cups, but my cups kept rolling around and that was super frustrating to me. And so I actually 3D printed and created a product by accident called the Vinyl Cup Keeper, where it's just a little cradle that I 3D printed and I put my cup in there and it stopped rolling around and it just really fit that object snugly and perfectly. 3D printed jigs are a little bit more work up front, but they're highly worth it for the longevity that they're going to give you and the accuracy. And if you can't make them yourself, you can always hire a designer to make them for you. Other ways to make production flows go so much quicker is just using household items that you might have. Things that I use all the time is 1, 2, 3 blocks, which are amazing little like machinist tools, but they're relatively cheap. I use painter's tape a lot. And honestly, I'll use anything around the house if I think it's going to make my workflow and my batching process easier. For example, if you're making a lot of signs and you have to cut a lot of pieces of wood at a certain length and you're using some kind of saw, whether that be a table saw or like a miter saw, a lot of crafters will use miter saws to make frames. Then what I like to do, rather than measuring out each piece of wood and making a mark and having to cut it, I will just put a little end stop and clamp it to the miter saw, and then that way I know once my piece of wood butts up into that piece of wood that I have clamped, I know that's the size I'm going for, and I can cut it, take that piece out, and just do the same repeated movement over and over again. And so sometimes it's really just small things like that to make your workflow that much easier. The whole point is you want to work smarter, not harder. That way you make the maximum amount of profit for your items and your business. And remember, your time is super valuable and it might be the most valuable part of your business. And so we want to make sure that you are doing the best that you can to not waste your own time or other people's time if you have employees. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is wood jigs. These are amazing, very similar to the other jigs that we make out of cardboard and even 3D printing, but not everyone has a 3D printer, and I totally understand that. So sometimes it's nice to just design your jig and then cut it out of wood, and then you have it forever. And you can even put registration marks on it if you want to use that same jig every time with your laser for that specific project. I typically don't do that because I don't have a lot of space in my work area. And so I typically either have the 3D printed ones or because they're smaller, or I do the cardboard that way. I can just throw it away and it's cheap and then I can make another one. But if you want to do these wooden ones, they're super easy to do. And another thing that I like to do, especially if you're making like multi-layered projects like ornaments or small little signage and stuff like that, then I would actually cut out of wood an assembly guide. And basically what you're doing is you're basically gluing pieces of wood together to make a spot open for whatever you're trying to assemble. So like for me, when I make snow globe ornaments, there's a lot of gluing and you want to get it as straight as possible. So I will use one of these wooden jigs that I've made for glue up, and then I'll put the base in, put my glue in, and then just keep doing that with all the layers. And I know it's going to be perfect and straight because of my little glue up jig. And it honestly will save so much time and so much headache. And you won't get frustrated because your pieces have slid around and are not nice and smooth. Because nothing is worse is finishing a project just to have to sand it all down or refinish it or anything like that. Last year, I had one of my biggest orders yet, and I had to engrave 1,200 ceramic mugs. It was crazy. It was a crazy quick turnaround. I was literally working 16-hour days. It was nuts. But what made it easier, even though it was a hard process, was that I set up a jig out of just random objects to make the repeated motion of putting a ceramic mug into laser bed and taking it out so much easier. I have my 1, 2, 3 blocks set up here. That way I know the engraving will go on straight. And I put this little 3D printed part here with some hold downs holding everything in place. And I have the square over here just so nothing moves and it's very repetitive and little room for error. And then these pieces of stacked wood is just to make the cup sit flat because it is 2 different sizes from the top to the bottom. When you have a big order like this, it is really important to consider these types of things. Even though I made this jig out of just random things like the wood and my ruler and tape and 3D printed random parts, it really does make a difference, because anything to really save you time is just going to make the biggest difference in your margins. Whether, even if it's a small difference in your margins, it still is worth it. And why would you not want to make your life easier for you? And especially when you're laser engraving huge orders, doing these batch processes like this and like having your jigs set up and just things ready and easy to go, it is really worth the time and effort it takes to set up the process beforehand. And because I took the time to make that jig, you can see here how quickly I was able to move when I was batching out these different mugs. And I would not have been able to finish this project had I not taken that time to do this setup. All right, so I just moved the laser head away. Then we can open it. inspect it, and that looks fantastic. And then we just repeat the whole process again, which is why I like having this little jig set up. Because it was an odd shape to the ceramic mug, this was the easiest option. And I just wanted to include this so that I can show you that it's really easy to just use whatever you have to make a jig to make your workflow better. It's very much where there's a will, there's a way. If you want something to be easier for you, you will find a way to do it. And this is just one way of just using random objects that you have. The only downside is if you're using objects as like your jig to kind of balance stuff out and level stuff out, you have to make sure, especially if you're using a laser specifically, that the head of your laser is not going to bump anything and ruin it, because that is expensive equipment and you want to make sure it's safe. But not only did having my little jig kind of set up make it much faster, but I also made sure that all 1,200 cups were absolutely identical, the same height, the same spot and everything. And that is also what we want, is consistency, because nothing is worse is getting a huge order and then you send it all to your client and they're like, well, this one's wrong, this one looks terrible, this one looks different than this one. And you absolutely don't want that, because you're just going to lose money, you're going to have an unhappy client, and everyone's just going to be sad. So whether you're making signs, mugs, coasters, or ornaments, the key to building a repeatable workflow is one where your tools do the heavy lifting for you and not your brain. All right, before I wrap up, I want to give you one more thing that's been super helpful for me in my workflow, and that is a pre-batching checklist. I run through it every time before I'm going to start a big order or launch a product series, because you don't want to be halfway through a huge order of ornaments and realize you're out of glue, or your files weren't sized correctly, or you somehow forgot to mirror something. So I'm going to walk you through my checklist real quick. This PDF checklist will be available for you to download. That way you can keep it near you in your workstation, or you can put it on like your iPad or something. So let's check it out. So the first thing that's on the checklist is you want to confirm your quantities. Really make sure you know exactly how many of each item you need, whether that be ribbon, glue, your raw blanks, packaging supplies, or even if you need a few extra of your item in case you mess up. It's way easier to double check before you start batching out your products rather than having to stop in the middle because something's not right or you ran out of something. And especially if you get caught like that during the holiday rush, shipping will be way slower if you're trying to order stuff off of Amazon or something. And so you don't want to give yourself an unnecessary headache. Number two, make sure whatever design files you're using are perfect and ready to go, whether that be the laser, Cricut, sublimation. Make sure all your stuff is mirrored if it's supposed to be mirrored. Make sure if you're laser cutting something that it's the correct size dimensions. Especially with lasers, sometimes things might import as millimeters versus inches. You also want to make sure that everything is grouped or aligned properly to get optimized cutting paths, and always make sure that your things are centered and the correct orientation. And if you are batch cutting a bunch of vinyl stickers or coasters or something like that, make sure you lay out as many as possible in your work area. That way you are saving time and you're not having to individually put in a coaster, pull out a coaster. Even if you are using a jig, make sure you're optimizing all that space that you have available to you. Number three, choose and test out your jig. First, you're gonna have to decide what kind of jig are you gonna use. Are you gonna make a cardboard one? Are you gonna laser cut one? Are you gonna get a 3D printed one? Whichever one you decide to do, you need to make sure that you test it and it works before you go into the batching process. I have suffered from doing that, where I just assumed it was great and good to go, and I started doing my thing and then I ruined a bunch of my product because I didn't test it beforehand. So don't be like me and learn from my mistakes. And don't forget, if whatever blank you're using for your product has like a weird shape, then make sure you trace it in some kind of software so that you can make a custom jig. Or what you can even do is you can even just trace it out on a piece of cardboard and do it that way as well, and just hand cut it. But seriously, always test your jig before starting your batching process. Fourth on the checklist is checking your material settings. I get this wrong so many times. Because I'm doing so many different kinds of projects, specifically with lasers, I have settings for all different kinds of materials, and I always forget to change the settings from project to project. And so I have ruined a bunch of tumblers and wood because I don't think about it and I'm lazy. So that is mainly why I originally created this checklist. But it's not just lasers, same goes with vinyl. If you're doing cutting vinyl or sublimation, again, make sure it's mirrored. And if you're cutting vinyl versus HTV, make sure you have those correct settings. Otherwise, you're just going to lose money and waste materials and get frustrated. And the more frustrated you are when you're working in these big orders and batch processes, then the more mistakes and errors are going to occur. Number five, set up your workstation. I know this is going to sound crazy, but it does help to have a decluttered workstation. A, so you don't get distracted by the things around you. be so it's clean and your products aren't going to potentially get messed up. And that way you have enough room so that you can kind of have your section of your finished items and your in progress items. You just want to give yourself enough room. That way things aren't falling over or knocking over, or you walk away and come back and then you've lost something in the clutter of your desk. A clear space can make a huge difference in how fast you can move and how focused you feel. Number 6 is batch and stages. Don't try to do one individual item at each time, because that is just going to take you forever and it's going to be a slow process and you're going to get frustrated. So make sure with your blanks, if you have to clean them all before you sublimate them, make sure you do all of that first and then sublimate them. Or if you're cutting out coasters, make sure you cut them all out and then engrave them, or seal all your product before you paint it, that kind of thing. Batching by task will definitely bring down that overall time of your big orders. And it really helps you get into a kind of groove too. That way things start to run smoothly. The last one on our list, number 7, is to buffer in extra time. You always got to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room in case mistakes are made. And honestly, mistakes will happen. We're human. That's just what happens, right? So when I was doing my big order of 1,200 ceramic mugs, I ruined 4 of them over the course of a couple of days. And that was just because I was literally working 16 to 18-hour days to get this order out the door. And so between just me being tired and like the laser kind of being a little bit finicky, mistakes happen. And so I had to rush order a replacement set of these cups, and they're kind of expensive, and they almost didn't come in time for the owner to pick up the order. So you really want to make sure you have enough time buffered into whatever kind of contract or deal you've made with your client. And it's also a good idea to have extra product on hand, as in my case, I did not, because you just never know when one might get messed up. Or sometimes when you order like bulk on Amazon or something, you'll just get some that are bad. So I definitely recommend you pick up a couple extras just in case. So just make sure you give yourself some wiggle room, because you do not want to be like up at all hours of the night trying to finish, to rush to meet this deadline that you have. So don't forget to download this checklist. That way you can really beef up your production workflow. So let's just recap really quick. Building the production workflow is not just for big companies and people who have a huge warehouse. I'm in a super small, cramped space, and if I can do it, you can do it. It's really just for anyone who wants to grow. The secrets to having a great workflow is jigs, the right tools, being creative, and systems that you have in place that help you work smarter, not harder. You don't have to be like a robot to make all these repeated motions and get all your projects perfect. You just have to be super intentional with your setup. Because if you're making things one by one and constantly repositioning and doing a resetup, I promise you there's a better way. And hopefully today I've given you some tools and actions that can help make that happen. Before I go, I want to tell you guys about one thing that I think can help make your life easier if you are a laser business owner. I created a custom ChatGPT tool for laser engravers specifically called Laser Buddy. Typically, this is a one-time fee of $29, and it's basically like having a production assistant that never sleeps. Since I built Laser Buddy with laser business owners in mind, it can help you come up with new ideas for products and product launches that you want to do. It will generate clean vector style graphics that are easy to import into your laser software or your design software. It is great at generating ideas and mock-up photos. So one of the really cool things about Laser Buddy too is it will help you make different lifestyle mock-ups that you can add to your Etsy listing. So I uploaded this sublimated coaster I did, and it made really quick work of putting it into a lifestyle scene. That way I can use it on Etsy, and I didn't have to take the time to set up any kind of props or anything, and it looks great. It can help you with your Etsy descriptions and titles and SEO titles, just to really make sure you're getting the best visibility for your products. And it honestly just saves me so much time, and it's really nice to have that to bounce ideas back and forth off of. But if you love what I covered today and talked about, and you want that same kind of speed and production and creativity baked into your workflow, then you'll definitely want to pick up Laser Buddy. Once you try it, I think you'll be hooked. Imagine designing much faster and smarter, and that's exactly what Laser Buddy will do for you.